She disappeared after the kiss. It began with a kiss that changed everything. The air was warm, laced with the scent of rain on pavement. Shenyu stood at the edge of the old theater, trembling. The lights had gone down. The crew had packed up. But Dylan stayed behind. She looked at him, and he looked at her, like the world had gone silent. He took a step forward. She didn't move. And then, he kissed her. Soft, slow, like a secret finally told after years of silence. But the moment it ended, she pulled away, whispered something he couldn't quite hear, and ran. Gone into the night. No calls, no messages, no trace. The next morning, she didn't show up for filming. The director called. The assistant tried her apartment. The manager was left in the dark. Dylan waited for hours, then days. But Shen Yue vanished, and something inside him cracked. He called her number until it stopped ringing. He checked the airport, train stations, old places they used to sneak away to, the lake behind the studio lot, the rooftop of her favorite bookshop. Nothing. It was like she'd been swallowed by the world. People started asking questions. The media whispered. Had she quit? Was there a secret scandal? Had Dylan said something to hurt her? But he knew. This was not about gossip. This was personal. He found her journal, left behind in her trailer. Pressed between the pages was a photo. The two of them, years ago, laughing, before the fame, before the cameras, before the lie they had been living. The journal pages were raw. She wrote of pain, of hiding their love, of nights crying alone when he had to pretend they were just colleagues. She wrote, "I cannot love someone in the dark anymore." That line broke him. He realized she had left, not because she stopped loving him, but because loving him in secret was destroying her. So he stopped waiting. He started moving. From city to city, he tracked down anyone who had seen her. A hotel clerk remembered a girl in a hoodie. A cab driver said she asked for directions to the coast. Dylan followed her trail like a man chasing his own soul. When he reached the seaside town she had written about once, he didn't expect to find anything. But then, he heard the piano. Soft, broken, familiar. He followed the sound to an old cafe by the water. Inside, a girl sat with her back turned, fingers tracing the keys. He stepped in, and she froze. She didn't look at him. Not yet. "Why did you run?" he asked. His voice cracked. She stood slowly, still not facing him, then whispered, "I needed to know if you would follow." He closed the distance in seconds, turned her around, and there she was, eyes tired, heart full, tears streaming. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm done hiding. From now on, the whole world will know who I love." She laughed through tears. "Are you sure?" He nodded. "I've never been more sure of anything." They stayed in that seaside town for 3 days. Just them. No cameras. No scripts. No pretending. And when they returned, hand in hand, the world didn't end. The press exploded. Fans were divided. But none of it mattered anymore. Because love had found its way through silence, through distance, through pain, and returned stronger than ever. Now, whenever Dylan is asked about the kiss that changed everything, he smiles, looks into the camera, and says, "She disappeared. But I followed, because real love doesn't give up when it gets hard. It gets louder." The world seemed still after that reunion. Shen Yu's hand in his, her heartbeat steady now, no longer racing from fear, but from something else, from finally being seen. The seaside town held a quiet kind of magic, the kind that heals wounds, that silences noise, that lets two people who had forgotten how to breathe learn again. For 3 days, they stayed hidden, no phones, no cameras, just them. She told him everything. How the pressure had drowned her. How smiling in public had become harder each day. How every time she had to deny their love, a part of her cracked. He listened, with eyes full of regret, with hands that held hers like they were fragile glass. He told her he had been wrong, that fame meant nothing without her, that love in the shadows was not love at all. It was fear. And for the first time in a long time, they both laughed. Not on cue, not for the cameras, but because something heavy had finally been released.
But peace is not built to last.
On the fourth morning, a black car appeared outside the cafe. Dylan knew that car. It belonged to his agency. Inside it was Mr. Zhao, the fixer, the man who made problems disappear, and who ensured no scandal touched the golden boy. He stepped out slowly,
Sunglasses on.
expression unreadable. "You have to come back," he said. "We're not ready," Dylan replied. "You have a press tour, a contract, a brand deal that depends on your image. We can't risk speculation." Shenyu stepped beside Dylan.
Come. Clear.
"No one owns us anymore." Zhao smirked. "Every star thinks that, until their name disappears from the headlines." But Dylan stood firm. For the first time, he refused to bend. "I'll come back. We both will. But together, or not at all."
Zhao didn't argue. He simply left.
But his silence was louder than any threat. They returned to the city days later, hand in hand, just like they promised. The airport was chaos. Fans screamed. Reporters shoved microphones forward, trying to catch a quote, a glance, a denial. But there was none. Instead, Dylan stopped at the center of the crowd, pulled Shenyu close, and kissed her. Not a scene from a drama, but a moment from real life.
Raw. True.
Unscripted. The internet exploded. Articles flew in every direction. Dylan confirms relationship. Secret love finally revealed. Fans divided over shocking romance. Some fans were thrilled. Some were furious. But they didn't flinch. They gave one joint interview.
Calm. Measured. But bold.
"We were never trying to lie," Dylan said. "We were just trying to protect something sacred." And Shenyu added, "Sometimes love needs to hide to survive.
But now,
it's time for it to live." For a while, things were perfect. They walked into sets together, sat side by side at premieres, took quiet vacations where paparazzi still found them. But they didn't care anymore. Until the scripts changed. Until a new drama cast Dylan opposite a rising actress. A face fresh from a global hit.
young.
Vibrant. Single. The press began to speculate. Was Shenyu being sidelined? Was the studio creating a new on-screen couple? Shenyu noticed the change first. In the way executives spoke to her. In the way posters started showing less of her face. And more of the girl playing opposite Dylan. One night, after a long shoot, she asked him, "Are you still sure about us?" He didn't hesitate. "I'm more sure than I've ever been." But outside, the pressure was building. 1 week later, photos surfaced. Dylan, at dinner with his new co-star, laughing, leaning in close. The internet caught fire. Shenyu's name began trending, not because of a new role, but because people were asking if she had been replaced. That night,
She didn't answer calls.
she didn't come home. Dylan rushed to find her. And when he did, she wasn't angry, just tired. "I can't do this again," she whispered. "The hiding, the rumors, the constant questioning if I'm enough for you." He fell to his knees. "Then let me prove it to you. Let me choose you again."
Publicly. Permanently.
No more silence. And he did. The very next day, he called a press conference. No management. No PR filters. Just him. He looked into the camera, voice shaking, but steady. "I love Shenyu. I have loved her for years. And no drama, no agency, no brand is going to come between that again." It was bold, unfiltered, unapologetic. And it worked. Not immediately. The backlash was loud, but support poured in louder. Fans posted old clips, edits, moments they had missed, signs they had ignored, proof that love had always been there. In the way Dylan looked at her, in the way Shenyu touched his shoulder when she laughed, in the spaces between their words. They became more than co-stars, more than a secret. They became a symbol that love, real love, could survive the cameras, the contracts, the chaos. And now, whenever Shenyu walks into a room, Dylan follows with a smile, because she may have disappeared once, but he found her, and he's never letting her go again.